Good evening. It has been raining all day, and I have some corporate meetings starting tomorrow. So I decided that on my breaks and throughout the week, as I have time, I'm going to start working on my Prentice 22. Will Stelter did a fantastic video on that. And I picked one up a few months ago, and I've kind of been hesitating about taking it apart. I have worked on I've restored so far a Reed 206, and I've restored a Yost 6-inch. That was a little more modern, probably made in the 1960s. It's been, as you can see here, the weather is now looking really fantastic. The quality of the light's great. But today, I want to talk about baby vices. There's a thing in the collector's world for the babies that they're extremely popular, and that's because they are small. They're fun to play with as toys. They are absolutely workhorses. They can do a lot of great work, but also the portability of them makes them really highly collectible. So let me show you what I have here. I've got a selection of small vices, starting with, this is a 1-inch jaw Colton patent vise. Now, let me just rest this here on the 22. Now, this guy here, I cleaned him all down to the casting. I painted him in this really fun green. It's a duplicolor paint. Taped it all off and all that. The threads are in pretty darn good shape, considering that the patent date on these guys is in the late 1800s, 1870 something. This one's a patent applied for model, which is pretty cool. But it's so tiny with the 1-inch jaws. Now, the most sought after little vices in the world are the Wilton Baby Bullet. This is a PLA 3D printed one that is just really cool. I'm overall actually not a huge fan of the Wiltons, but the size factor of this, I totally understand it. And if I have the opportunity to pick one up, I will. The thing is, they do sell at the low end for $300. At the high end, I've seen them go for $1,200, $1,300 for some of them with a power arm and a swivel base. So this I picked up as a toy from someone who's making it. It's a shelf toy, but that's pretty cool. Now, the same guy who made this for me, I asked him, hey, can you take that program and scale it down to a 1-inch? And he was. Now, he didn't tap it for me, and I don't currently actually have a tap and die set. And some of the, where the support structures are a little rough. Eventually, I'll take some sandpaper and clean that up and get that done. But this is just really fun. Now, this style here, this Colton, this was really popular. They were extremely well made, and they were made by several different companies, including the Phoenix company out of upstate New York, and 3 or 4 other companies around the country. It's actually really hard sometimes to tell who these were made by. But here we have, oops, here I have a 2-inch version of it, which I just recently got. The threads are not in great, are okay, but I need to really wire wheel them, get the gunk out of there. And you'll notice this one has the anvil on it that the 1-inch one doesn't. Now, one of the things that distinguishes a baby versus a clamp-on is that they are designed for permanent mounting. They are not designed as a temporary movable piece. Which a lot of others are. Stanley Victor, for example, the Victor company, later the Stanley company, Stanley Victor when they were together, made a variety of these. Here's a 2-inch version, and it has this clamp on, not the original screw. And I picked this guy up. Eventually, I actually kind of want to pick one of these up that's broken. You do find these broken sometimes, where I'll sand this down and create a bench version of one of these from a busted one. Now, these Stanleys, especially if they are the Sweetheart and they've got the heart on it, they are extremely popular. They are very collectible, and some of them can get very expensive. They even made some wider jaw versions of these that can get expensive as well. But generally, you'll see these at flea markets and whatnot for $5, $10. And most of them really, they're not worth more than $25, $30 at the most, unless you have one of the really rare sizes. Then here's another version of the Colton patent, but this one is the clamp-on version, and it's complete, including this little piece here that's often missing. And I picked this one up. When did I get this guy? Oh, I got this at a barn sale that was sitting in just a random little case for like $5. Again, just a fun little toy, and eventually I'm going to strip it down and clean it up because I find this fun. You know, basically what I'll do is I take it to the bench grinder with the wire wheel. I use my angle grinder with the knotted wire wheel. Now this was a fairly expensive knotted wire wheel, but over a course of over a year, you can see how much I've worn that down. That was a 4.5 inch. That's probably, it's not even 3 inches anymore. So I definitely need to pick up myself a new wire wheel. And I'll use this, and I'll pick up a new one for the work on the Apprentice 22. That's going to be my first full Vice restoration video, probably done in multiple parts, filming different aspects of it, and try editing it. I'm looking forward to it. I sold the other two 6 inches I had. This one is going to be personal keeper because I'm from New York. And the Apprentice Vice Company their pieces were made in New York. So it's part of the Made in New York collection. My primary collection is, of course, Athol, but the 6 inch vise with the rotating jaw is going to be really useful. I hope you guys find this content interesting. You should be able to post in my comments now. I've got that sorted out. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a comment. Tell me things that you'd like to know more about. Obviously, I'm passionate about my Vice collection. You know, this is still a new experience, and I'd love to hear what people who interact with the video think and what questions you might have. I am going to continue later on. I'm going to continue with the series I started with the Athol history. I'm going to do the Reed Company. I'm going to do the Wilson Company. I'm going to do Prentice. I'm going to do Charles Parker, and all the big ones. I want to hit all of them, about the history of them, just give a brief history of all of them, because, you know, finding sometimes this information online, it's been weird over the last couple of years. There's some great resources, and then there are some that just, it's like, you got bits and pieces. You don't have full histories. It's odd, and I kind of like to know about it, and, you know, tools in general are fun. So you guys tell me what you think, and have a great day.